Hi all, it's that time again. It's podcast time. Before I get started, I just want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Have a great day, eat a lot of food, watch the fireworks, just have a good time, but also be safe. Now, in this podcast, I know last week, a week before, I promised that this one was going to be about E3. I kind of decided to change it up a little bit and do something a little bit interesting. I'm going to do a countdown. This time it's going to be my top 8 favorite albums of all time. Now these are just some of my favorites. You can choose your own. You can post them out in the comment section on this page on YouTube. And also at the very end of this podcast, after I finish my top 8, I'm going to do something that's just a little bit special. I'll explain what it is when I'm done. So the first album I want to talk about is actually from a band called Whitesnake. It's their last album that they did. It's called Forevermore. This one was released back in 2011. It was their first album they released since 2008's record. This one is 13 killer tracks. If you were lucky enough to get the deluxe collector's edition, like I did, it comes with 3 bonus tracks and a bonus DVD. The tracks on this album are amazing. You have, starts off with a song called Steal Your Heart Away. It's a great track. All Out of Luck, kind of a poker type of thing, sort of what Ace Frehley did on his Trouble Walk album called Five Card Stud. Then one of my favorites off the album is a nice hard drive song called Love Will Set You Free. It's a great song. Great video, which has his wife and his son in the video, which is a great video. And probably one of my favorite ballads on the record, which is a song you could basically sing to anyone that you care about, and it's basically true. The song is called Easier Said Than Done. It's basically, you can just put this song on and sing it to your girlfriend or your wife or whoever, and it'll actually say pretty true to how you feel. The next song is Tell Me How. Great hard rock song. It's a great tune, and even after throat surgery, David Coverdale really came back and he really sounds amazing on this album. The number 6 song is a song called I Need You, Shine a Light. Great song. I don't think there's a song on this record that's actually bad in any way. Another ballad, which is a great ballad, which is called One of These Days. It's a great song. If you listen to it, you'll love it. The number 8 song is a song called Love and Treat Me Right. Obviously, the title of the song pretty much indicates where the song is actually going, so you might want to check that out. Another one, number 9 song is called Dogs in the Street. Self-explanatory, I don't need to really go far into that one. Then probably my second favorite ballad on the album is called Fare Thee Well, about somebody who's leaving, so I think it's a great track. Number 10 is Whipping Boy Blues. Obviously, it's another. The rest of these are just all hard edge songs. Like number 12 is My Evil Ways, and then the final track on the album is the title track to the record, which is Forevermore. As it starts off nice ballady, and then it kicks your ass towards the end of the song. Now, if you got the collector's edition, it came with 3 bonus tracks. It came with an alternate mix of Love Will Set You Free, a shorter 4.5-minute version of Forevermore, and so another, it's called My Evil Drum Mix for My Evil Ways. Now, on the second disc of the album, you got a DVD, which consisted of the making of the record, the Forevermore track-by-track breakdown. You got to see the music video for Love Will Set Me Free, and then you got to see the making of the video. Over and all, for this Whitesnake record here, Forevermore, out of 10, I give it 8.5 out of 10. It's a great track. It's a great record. Probably one of the best Whitesnake records I've heard in a very long time, and I pretty much heard all of them. So definitely, if you have not picked it up, go pick it up. It's a great record. My number 7 record is by Meatloaf, and it's called Hang Cool Teddy Bear. Now, Hang Cool Teddy Bear came out a few years ago. Came out about 3 years ago, and it was based on a short story. Um, I also, as you can see from the way the case looks, I managed also to get the collector's edition. It's a 2-disc set. First disc is the actual record itself, and then you have the second CD is a live album with a bunch of songs that he did in different parts of the world on tour. Now, what I like about this one, it's kind of in the feel of the Bat Out of Hell series. It has a lot of great tracks on there: Peace on Earth, Living on the Outside, Los Angeles Loser, which happened to be one of the videos off the record. If I Can't Have You, which had Hugh Laurie in it from House, which is amazing. Another song called Love Is Not Real, Next Time You Stab Me in the Back, is a great song. One of the songs I didn't like so much was Like a Rose with Jack Black. It was just kind of eh. They had another one called Song of Madness, which was actually pretty cool. Then probably my favorite song off the record is Did You Ever Love Somebody? It's a great ballad. It's just him and an acoustic guitar, just him talking about loving a friend and them not knowing it. So I thought it was a great track. Then California Isn't Big Enough. It's a great song. Run Away From Me is a great song. There's just a lot of great songs on this record. He did a song that was written by Bon Jovi, John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora, called Elvis in Vegas, which is a great tune. One of my favorites is a song called If It Rains. It's a great song. Now, on the second disc, which is the live track, you got stuff from all over the world, from Europe and here in the States. Some of the tracks you may recognize name-wise. One is called I Want You So Hard, which he did in Finland. Break It from Bat Out of Hell 3, he did that in the UK. Blind as a Bat, he also did in Norfolk in the UK. That was also from Bat 3. Amnesty Is Granted, which he did from the Welcome to the Neighborhood album back in the 90s. That one he did in Berlin, Germany. Then, of course, Rock and Roll Dreams, which is probably one of my favorites off of Bat Out of Hell 2. He did that one also in Hamburg, Germany. Then, of course, I Do Anything for Love, which was the #1 hit around the world in back in 1993. He did that one in Ireland. Then, of course, 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad from the first Bat Out of Hell record. He ended up doing that one in Youngstown, Ohio. Then, of course, the title track, Bat Out of Hell. He ended up doing that one in New York City. Then Roadhouse. Everybody knows what Roadhouse is. He did that one in Norway. And the final track on the live record is called Why Do We Do It on the Road, which he also did in Norway. Great track, great album. Great album after coming off Bat Out of Hell 3. Definitely, I give this one an 8 out of 10. Pick it up. If you haven't picked this record up yet, definitely pick it up. Now, my number 6 record, staying with Meatloaf, happens to be the ever so popular, still on the charts to this day, Bat Out of Hell. Now, this here is the Anniversary Collector's Special Edition, as you can see right there. This one came with the Bat Out of Hell record, 2 bonus tracks, and the Hits Out of Hell DVD. Now, pretty much this album has been performed, every song, live at least once. This is an album that came out back in 1977, and it just blew up. It made him a superstar. It put pretty much Meatloaf on the map. Everything from Bat Out of Hell to You Took the Words Out of My Mouth, probably my favorite song, Heaven Can Wait, All Revved Up with No Place to Go, because 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad, because the old sex song, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, which he's been doing for about 40 years, maybe a little more. And probably one of my favorites, For Crying Out Loud, which is a great song, both studio version and live. It's a great track. And then the bonus tracks are great Bordello Fire, which was kind of an intro that he did back in the 70s for his tours. And the final bonus track is a live version of Bat Out of Hell. Now, the album itself, of course, everybody knows is a great record. You know, it's still on the charts to this day, selling close to 80 million records. It's still a fantastic album. Now, if you were lucky enough to get this version, the special edition version, and you got it with the Hits Out of Hell DVD, you got you pretty much got 11 videos, combination from Bat Out of Hell and his Midnight, the Lost and Found, and Dead Ringer records. So you get Bat Out of Hell, the Bat Out of Hell video, the Rhythm and Wheat video from Dead Ringer, 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad, Razor's Edge from Midnight, the Lost and Found album. You get More Than You Deserve from, which is a great song from Dead Ringer. I'm Gonna Love With Both of Us, which is another great song from that record. Because If I Really Want To, which is another great song from the Midnight Lost and Found album. Then of course you get Took Two Out of the Words, Paradise, and then of course the song with Cher, Dead Ringer for Love, which they did at a nice little bar back I think in California. But overall, Bat Out of Hell, great record. I give this one 10 out of 10. It's a great album. It put Loaf on the map. If you have not gotten this record, shame on you. Pick it up. My next record is probably from my favorite band. You probably see me wearing their shirts from time to time on these podcasts. I'm talking about Kiss, and I'm talking about their 2000, their return album that they haven't done in 11 years. I'm talking about Sonic Boom. Now, Sonic Boom was their first record they did in over 11 years. Their last album they did was Psycho Circus, which didn't really do all that well. But this was their first record. This was, at the time, their highest charting album at the time. It actually has all 4 members singing on the record. This is also a 3-disc set. This was only released in Walmart. It's a pretty good record. You got 3 discs. You got the album. You got a classic remix of Kiss tunes. This album was released in Japan only. And then you have a live DVD, which only like 6-7 tracks from Argentina. Now, the tracks on this record is Modern Day Delilah, which was the lead-off single. It was a great tune, a great way to start off the Sonic Boom tour. Then Russian Roulette, which was a song that way back to the 70s and 80s, Gene kept recycling it and kept putting it on the back burner. Finally, he was able to get it out. Never Enough, Paul Stanley does that one. It's a great song. I think his vocals sound really great on it. Yes, I Know Nobody's Perfect, again, is another song that Gene been trying to get on albums for years. And now he finally was able to get it on a record, so it was great. Another one, probably one of my favorites, this is the kind of song you can put on and you can pretty much show who your true friends are. This one, it's called Stand. Basically, it's just telling you that your friends will stand by your side through thick and thin, and that's what I kind of like about that song. Then you got another great Gene song called Hot and Cold. Great song. The number 7 track is a track from that actually Eric Singer does. It's the first song he actually sang on an album. It's called Oh for the Glory. They did it live a couple of times on tour. Pretty decent song. Probably one of my favorite Paul songs on this record is called Danger Us. But when people hear, they keep thinking he's saying dangerous, but he's saying Danger Us. Probably one of my least favorite songs on this record is probably I'm an Animal that Gene does. It's an okay track. It's not that great. Then Tommy Thayer finally sings on a record called When Lightning Strikes. Pretty cool. Very similar to Ace Frehley, so I think that was kind of a carbon copy of Ace on that one. Then my favorite track on this record, which closes out the tour album, which is Say Yeah. Very sexual tune. Great song for the fans to get into. Great track. Great song. Now, on the second disc of this record, you get 15 tracks that were done in Japan when they were on tour. And they did them the way they would with the current lineup with Paul, Gene, Eric Singer, and Tommy Thayer. They redid them, but they did them in the style that they were done when they were originally released. So the tracks consist of Deuce, Detroit Rock City, Shout It Out Loud, Hotter Than Hell, Calling Dr. Love, Love Gun, I Was Made for Loving You, Heaven's on Fire, Lick It Up, I Love It Loud, Forever, Christine 16, Do You Love Me, Black Diamond, and Rock and Roll All Night. Now, those songs were done in the original version. So if you listen to these versions and then go back and listen to the original versions, they sound fresher now, but they're in the same feel. Now, the third disc on here is a bonus DVD from Buenos Aires in Argentina back in April of 2009. They did a show out there, and they ended up putting it on the CD. It's only like 7 or 8 tracks, but you get a feel for it. Overall, I give Sonic Boom an 8 out of 10. It's a good record. It's a good record to come back to, but I think it could have been a little bit stronger. Now, my next record I want to talk about is also again from Meatloaf, and I'm talking about Bat Outta Hell 2. Now, as you can see, it's the deluxe edition. I tend to go out and buy a lot of the collector's edition on records because I like the extra stuff. Now, this one is probably my favorite Bat Outta Hell record next to Bat Outta Hell 1. You got 11 tracks, Jim Steinman style, awesome album. The #1 single, I Do Anything for Love, which is a great track. Followed by Life is a Lemon. Come on, it's a great track. Rock and Roll Dreams, great video. Probably one of my favorite ballads on the record. I just won't quit. Followed by Out of the Frying Pan Into the Fire, which is a great track. I finally got to hear that live when I went to the Bat Outta Hell 3 tour. And then probably my favorite song off this record, which is of course the most depressing song on the album, Objects in the Rearview Mirror, Mirror Closer Than They Are. It's a great song, great video. Got Robert Patrick in the video from Terminator 2, so it's a great song. It's definitely if you haven't seen the video, definitely watch the video. It was directed by Michael Bay, who destroyed the Transformer movies in my opinion. But it's a great song. Michael Bay ended up directing all the videos from Bat Outta Hell 2. Next is kind of like a thing that Jim Steinman did back on Dead Ringer. Just what he did, it was a little thing called Wasted Youth. Followed by Everything Louder Than Everything Else, Good Girls Go to Heaven, Bad Girls Go Everywhere, a little instrumental called Back Into Hell, and then he finishes up the record with Lost Boys and Golden Girls. Great ballad. Now, if you were lucky enough to get the deluxe edition, you got a second disc with it. Now this one, it was radio and single and radio edits as well as remixes. So you got 10 tracks, some of them repeating themselves. You got the Objects in the Rearview Mirror radio edit, which was a smaller version, shorter version of the actual version of the song. You got the single edit of I Do Anything for Love, which was a much shorter version of the actual song. You got the radio edit of Rock and Roll Dreams. And you got the radio edit of Life is a Lemon. You also got what is called the Wild Bomb mix of Objects in the Rearview Mirror. Then you got which is called Longer, but not as long as the album version of I Do Anything for Love. Then you got the Ty Cobb edit, which I'm still trying to figure what that means, of Life is a Lemon. Then you got the Wild Carr mix, which I still don't know what that means, for Objects in the Rearview Mirror. Then you got another version of you got a new edit mix of Rock and Roll Dreams. Then you got the 1998 remix of Life is a Lemon, which came out on the Very Best of Meatloaf in 1998. I think that was a much better version of Life is a Lemon on the actual album itself. But overall, this version of Bat Outta Hell 2, this one gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It's a great album. It was his great comeback album. Definitely pick it up. Now we move on to my number 3 record. Again, it's from my boys Kiss. Probably my favorite album that they've done, Destroyer. Now, most people would think that I would probably have Destroyer at number 1, but again, I wanted to be fair and, mix a list around a little bit, but Destroyer is probably, by hands down, my favorite album, and to this day, it's probably still one of the greatest Kiss records ever made. You got 9 tracks of killer tunes: Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, God of Thunder, Great Expectations, Flaming Youth, Sweet Pain, Shout It Out Loud, Beth, and Do You Love Me. At one point or another, these songs were actually performed live in concert at one point. So this is probably I think there's one other Kiss album where all the songs were actually performed. But this record actually is the only album in their history where almost every song to this date is performed live in every song, in every show. And it's a great record. You know, it's a different. They kind of experimented with this album a little bit with orchestras and children's choirs, and so I thought it was a great album. I give this album. This definitely gets a 10 out of 10. If I can go higher on that, I sure would. You know, and as you can see, it's the 90s version of the remastered albums. You know, it's a great record. You know, I think it's awesome. Destroyer is probably one of my favorite records. Definitely pick it up. You'll love this album. If you don't, you need to have your head examined. My number 2 record is by a band that I discovered many years ago. I'm talking about Van Halen's 1984 album. As you could also see, it's the remastered version. Now, I got into Van Halen a long, long time ago, and I thought they were a very cool, very edgy type of band. They were very awesome. And the first album I ever got was their debut record back in '78. And it was okay. I heard of their other records, but it wasn't until I got this one that I realized that this was a band that was going to be around for a very, very long time. I mean, especially when you got hit songs like that everybody knows from Jump and Panama and Hot for Teacher. You know, those are songs that pretty much put Van Halen on the map. And for this one definitely gets a 9 out of 10 for me. It's a great album. You know, I can pretty much do without the little kid Angel Wings doing smoking on the cover, but overall I think it's a great record and Van Halen is doing phenomenal. And now we've made it to my number 1. Now my number 1 record is the newest Kiss record that came out last year. I'm talking about Monster. Now, Monster, you know, you've been waiting a couple of years from Sonic Boom to see if they can make it a better record. And, you know, when I first got the album, the only track I really only heard off the record was Hella Hallelujah, which happened to be the lead single. And I happened to like the song, but then I heard little 30-second snippets of the rest of the album. And I really wasn't impressed with it, but I had to listen to it over and over and over again to really let it grow on me. And there are just amazing tracks on this record. I really think they did a really great job on this record. You know, Gene's song, Wall the Sound, is pretty much an amazing track. It's a short song, but it's a great track. Paul does a song called Freak. Now, I know there are freaks out there that like to dress in a certain way, you know, whether you're goth or whatever. He pretty much wrote this song basically telling those people they can pretty much go screw themselves. This is who I am and this is how I feel. If you don't like me, too bad. One song that Gene did, which I didn't care for too much, was Back to the Stone Age. It was okay. Show Mercy, Paul did a great Paul Stanley song. It's a great track. Long Way Down. It's great as a studio track. Not so good as a live song. Gene does a little kitty song called Eat Your Heart Out. It's a good song, but I think it could have been a little bit better. The Devil Is Me, another Gene Simmons song, which I really didn't care for too much. Then we have what I call the Ace Frehley wannabe track, which is done by Tommy Thayer, which is Out of This World. You know, kind of, if you listen to it, it kind of has an Ace Frehley type of feel to it. So I really didn't care for it too much. And Eric Singer does a song on the album called All for the Love of Rock and Roll. It sounded very kiddish, very ballady to me, and I really didn't care for it too much. Now, the last 2 tracks, one song is called Take Me Down Below. Very sexual tune. Loved it. Gene and Paul go back and forth on vocals again. They haven't done that on a record in quite some time, so it was great to see them do that. And the final track is a song that Paul did called Last Chance. All you have to do is listen to the title of the song. You pretty much can understand where he's coming from with that. And Paul actually produced the record this time again. So overall, this is my number 1. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's a great album. This album came out last year. Pick it up. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that I was going to do something special at the end of this. And staying on the Kiss theme, next week on July the 12th would have been the late great Eric Carr's 63rd birthday. And I decided that I would like to do kind of a little tribute to Eric. Fact that I did meet him at least once back in on the Hot in the Shade tour back in '91 when they were performing in Orlando. Um, I got to meet him. He was a great guy. I kind of got a little emotional when he did pass away, and I thought he was a great guy. He was one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet, and when he passed away, devastated a lot of Kiss fans as well as the members themselves. And I was lucky enough to pick up two of the records that were put out. And the first one I want to talk about is Rockology. Now, Rockology is an album that was put out by Bruce Kulick, and some of Eric's family members. Now, the album consists of a lot of demos and songs that he was working on for either Kiss or side projects. Now, the last 4 tracks were songs that he was working on for his own cartoon series called The Rockheads. But from tracks 1 through track 8 were songs that he was working on. And some of these songs were going to be used on Kiss records, but unfortunately they didn't exactly make the cut. You got Eyes of Love, which I thought was a great song, a great hard rock song that goes to show you kind of talent that Eric Carr really had. Somebody's Waiting was actually supposed to have been, I think, either on Crazy Nights or Hot in the Shade, but I think for Hot in the Shade it kind of got passed over for Forever. But it was still a great tune. The only track on this album that actually got vocals on it, which was a song called Just Can't Wait. On the Rockology, it was actually an instrumental, but it actually got on another album. It actually got some lyrics, which was actually cool. I actually got to hear it. It was actually pretty cool. But over and all, for Eric Carr's first solo record, great record. I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's a great album. If you're a big Kiss fan or you're just an Eric Carr fan and you have not picked this up, try to pick it up. You'll love it. Just try not to get too emotional when you listen to it. Now, last year, they released another album commemorating his anniversary of his death. I'm talking about Eric Carr's Unfinished Business. Now, this one I actually got for Christmas, and I got to hear it. And it's basically stuff that he's done that were in different versions of songs that either ended up on records or songs that he was a part of that other artists actually got a chance to actually take part of. Like I said, Just Can't Wait was actually on it. I actually got lyrics. He did it with a song called Troubles Inside You, which I thought was an interesting song. Nobody's Messing With You, which is an earlier version of Little Caesar. Then there's a heavier version of Carr Jam 1981, which was released on the Revenge record. Shandy, which Eric Carr sings, which I think is a great, beautiful song that he did during his Kiss audition back in 1980. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. All Hell's Breaking Loose, which was from Lick It Up. Somebody came in and did the song, but because Eric did actually help co-write that song. A song that was actually, I think, supposed to have been on the Crazy Nights album, but kind of got left off and the lyrics never got a chance to get put on it, was a song called Dial L for Love. It's an interesting instrumental. Like I said, the lyrics were never put on it, but it's actually a great song. One song that Eric was working on, he actually called himself this for a while, which was a song called Elephant Man. Why, I have no idea, but it's a great interesting song. Midnight Stranger was an instrumental that he ended up doing again. Lyrics were never really put on it, but it actually turned out to be a great song. Now, Eyes of Love, which was on the Rockology album, this is kind of a different version of the song. Different lyrics, same feel, but overall it's pretty much the same song. Now, there's a thing on there called Through the Years. It's kind of a combination of different drum solos that he's done throughout the years. It was put on one track, so If you never heard Eric Carr, see Eric Carr do a drum solo, definitely check it out. He's done a lot of amazing stuff with it. And the last track on here that actually has anything to do with vocals is a track that he did way back in 1967 called "I Cry at Night," which is one of his first bands. It was an interesting song. You get to hear Eric in his early days before he joined Kiss in 1980. But definitely Eric Carr's Unfinished Business. Pick it up. You can probably get it on any Kiss merchandise website. You can pick it up, or Amazon, or Best Buy. Overall, I give Unfinished Business, I give it 9 out of 10. Eric Carr will still be missed to this very, very day. He would have been 63 years old this month. He probably would still have been drumming in the band, but, we lost him, at the age of 41. He's still going to be missed. Eric, we love you. We wish you were still here. But over and all, we do miss him. Well, that would include my podcast. This one ran a little bit longer than I would have liked it. But I hope you enjoy it. Again, have a great 4th of July. Check out the podcast. Leave any comments. If you have your own top 8 you want to put up, you can put it up on the YouTube page. Just follow the link, which I'm going to put on Facebook. And you can definitely make your own comments or whatever you want. So again, have a great 4th of July, and I will see you next week.